Hi, everyone. So I thought I'd re record this for people who are very busy. So I'm going to give an explanation of what socionics is in hopefully under 5 minutes so that you haven't got much time in your day, you can quickly learn what this is all about. So this theory is the passion of my life, I would say. I think it's an incredibly high potential theory. Lots can be done with it once people understand it and start to utilize it. I think it has applications in team building, in coaching, in dating, in helping people in education, perhaps even. I think it's great for understanding yourself better, great for understanding other people better, and it's good at equipping you with a means of quite quickly understanding differences between people and how to navigate that in the real world. So, how does it do this? How does it give you this information? Socionics is a theory developed in the 1970s and 80s by a Lithuanian academic called Austra Augustinavičiūtė. She developed her ideas from Carl Jung. It first came up with the idea of psychological types, the idea that people can be differentiated by a certain dominant function or a certain lens through which we view the world around us. And developing this with some ideas of information metabolism by a Polish psychologist called Antoni Kempinski. There's this idea that in socionics, the socionics types, they differ in how they metabolize the information around us, how they take different kinds of information, which would be concrete, physical information that we can sense, abstract information that we simply intuit in our heads, logical information, which we make decisions and judgments on, that is, rational and impersonal, and ethical information. Again, we make decisions, but they're more personal and subjective. So we differ in our ability to metabolize these different kinds of information. And if you're strong at something, you're good at it. You can do that well. You could be, if you're strong at one sort, you're weak at the other. So there's this idea of psychological asymmetry, that you differ in being good at one thing and not being so good at another. And then other people, the strengths are flipped the other way around. Um, there's also this idea of valuing something rather than just being strong at it. So what do you appreciate? What do you like? That's not necessarily what you can do very well. So some people may like something but not be good at it, and vice versa. So that means you may appreciate that being provided by a friend, by a partner, by someone in a close relationship, rather than you providing that yourself. This is the beginning of understanding individual differences and how that connects to other kinds of people, and building these ideas of complementary relationships, where people help each other, rather than relationships where people can likely clash because they're not providing what the other person needs, or they're doing it in a way which is incompatible with what the person really, really wants. Now, the idea is that you have this dominant lens, this dominant function, but you have all the other kinds of information, there are 8 in total, assigned to that person in a certain slot. There's a function. It's a bit like a filing cabinet. Imagine you take the different kinds of information available to us and put them each in a drawer of that filing cabinet. That's the idea of the socionics type. And different types will have different arrangements of the different kinds of information in these different filing cabinet slots, which we call functions. So the idea is that based on these different combinations, you get different types. These types will then have certain strengths, certain weaknesses, certain values, certain things which are their turn-offs, things they tend to bring to the world. For instance, you can have the innovator, that would be my type, the inventor. My wife's type would be the nurturer, and we'd be a very good sort of complementary pair because we're very different in our strengths, but very aligned in our values. And that idea of difference in strength, alignment in values, is supported by the scientific literature. It's shown in team diversity that teams that are diverse in their capabilities work better together. But if they are diverse in their values, then they don't work so well. They end up at odds with each other. So you take this idea of socionics type, which I think is got far better explanatory power than similar type theories, such as the Myers-Briggs type indicator. It goes into far more detail, and it makes very important distinctions to understand someone. And then you can utilize that for all these sorts of applications. As I said, it's good for coaching, it's good for development of oneself, but also understanding other people, quickly understanding the different kinds of personalities out there, getting to know people quickly and orientating yourself to them and their values. It's very good for team building and bridging the gaps between people and say in a relationship that's not working very well. I've done some relationship counseling using it. I've also liked to use it for school in terms of how to teach people better. So that's socionics in under 5 minutes. Thank you for tuning in.